Truly, guys. If you get your fascial system to relax from getting lymph movement, your fascia is another avenue of transporting electricity and your emotions. So I went a little overboard on that, but I want you to know that lymphatic work is probably one of the most important things you can do for your overall health.
No,
So,
I don't think that was overboard at all. It's so important, I think, for people to understand that your lymphatic system is the literal lifeline of you. It's the one that replenishes your blood, and it's that energetic pull that kind of makes us go. And if that's stagnant, then you're gonna feel that in your
mm,
body. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Birth Lounge podcast. Welcome back, you guys. I have not had a long intro in a long time, and I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but I wanted to just say that I genuinely love showing up for you guys every single week. This is one of my favorite things that I get to do as a doula, and as I am preparing to be out on maternity leave, I have obviously been forced to give up some of my role as I make space to welcome this new baby. But one thing I have not and I will not give up is this podcast. Why? Well, because I love showing up for you guys every single week. I love being able to hang out with you. I love being able to bring you new information, and I love being able to expand the things that you have access to. I love being able to get your wheels turning. I love being able to introduce you to new people and new methodologies and new approaches that will only enhance and improve your life. So, thank you. Thanks for showing up for me, but more so, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to show up for you. Thank you for trusting me, and thank you so, so much for giving me the space to be in your world and to have the honor of sharing things with you. I love it, and I appreciate you, and I just wanted to take some time to say that to you. All right. Now, in terms of things that will improve and enhance your life, have you ever heard of lymphatic drainage? Do you know what your lymphatic system does? I think a lot of us know that we have a lymphatic system, and you may even know where your lymph nodes are. If you've ever been sick, you may have had swollen lymph nodes. I know that a lot of times when you are breastfeeding, a lot of women will experience swollen lymph nodes underneath their armpits, or you may have swollen lymph nodes in your neck if you catch a virus or aren't feeling well. But are you aware of just how integral your lymphatic system is to your overall health? Did you know that stagnation in your lymphatic system can prevent your whole body from functioning optimally? Did you know that having stagnation in your lymphatic system can actually negatively impact your hormones, your nervous system, your stress level, your immune system? Yeah, well, it can. And it's something that I have been learning about over the last couple of years. And I've talked about it here and there, but every time I do, people are equally very interested and also skeptical. So I wanted to have on an expert to talk about exactly what our lymphatic system does, how we can best support it. How do we know if our lymphatic system isn't functioning optimally? Maybe there's some stagnation we didn't know about. And what can we do to actually help improve the health of our lymphatic system. And then also, we're going to dive into things that you can do at home that are free, easy, and accessible to you. Things like dry brushing and gua sha and lymphatic drainage. I'm so stoked to be having Dr. Chris Motley on the show today. And Dr. Motley is an alternative health practitioner specializing in traditional Chinese medicine, frequency medicine, and kinesiology. One of the things that draws me to him the most is that he actually comes to health from a place of wanting to eliminate fear for you. He loves to empower you to take control of your well being. He's also the host of the Ancient Health podcast, which I actually found him through at first, and then I followed him on social media, which I know is a little backwards for me. Generally, I find people on social media and then follow them on other channels. But for Dr. Motley, I actually found and fell in love with his podcast first. His unique approach integrates modern technology with time honored healing practices, and he recognizes a physical, neurological, and emotional health connection that will help you live a better and healthier life. I mean, that right there could be the end of the episode. Now you know why I was dying to have him on. Dr. Motley in today's episode is going to talk us through lymphatic drainage and just how important it is for our overall health. We're also going to dive into the safety of lymphatic drainage in pregnancy, postpartum, and breastfeeding. And then finally, we're going to touch on the fact that having stagnation in your lymphatic drainage might actually be contributing to some infertility issues that you might be facing. This episode is absolutely fascinating, and we completely nerd out. So if that's not your thing, today may not be your cup of tea. But if that is your thing, push up those glasses, grab your pen and paper, make yourself a cup of coffee, and get snuggled in because we are about to do a deep dive. Without further ado, Dr. Motley, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, HeHe. I don't say this joking. I really love the name. And so I'm really appreciative for you reaching out. And seriously, thank you so much. I really consider any privilege, anytime I can be able to get on a health podcast, I'm really thankful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, honestly, the honor is mine. I'm a big fan of yours. I've learned so
Oh,
much from you. I have followed you for a long time. And I'm really grateful to be able to share you with my audience because I think you guys are just going to jive so well. And
oh.
we're diving into a topic that I think a lot of people are curious about, but they don't really
Mhm.
know where to get good information. And, health influencers sometimes online they don't always have the most accurate information. And so that's why I wanted to reach out to you. And I was like, all right, I have to have Dr. Motley on the show. We have to talk about lymphatic drainage. I'm a big fan of lymphatic drainage. I have seen the benefits in my own life. And I think that my audience could benefit as well. But I definitely hear some skepticism when I talk about it online. I hear their
Mhm.
hesitancy of, oh, I don't know if this is really for me. And so I'm hoping by the end of today's episode, we can help squash some of their fears. We can
Yeah.
help them really see the benefits and we can give them some data driven, evidence based places that they can rely on to help make decisions for themselves. So, before we dive too far into all of that, I think a good place for us to start that maybe not a lot of people really understand is our lymphatic system. What does
Mhm.
it do? What does lymphatic drainage mean? And why is it important to like our overall health?
A really great question. And so, everybody that's listening on my podcast, I do talk a little slower because sometimes I'll talk too fast. And I know I'll talk too fast. And I think people are like, okay, slow down because I don't ever want to go on rabbit trails. But for everybody listening or watching, when we talk about the lymphatic system, one of the biggest keys that I think is really important, especially in Chinese medicine or overall physiology, in a nutshell, your lymph nodes basically are an extra avenue for detoxification, but also it helps you with the movement of qi and electricity throughout your body. So, just imagine, I'm not getting off camera, but I always have my doll with me. But anytime, if you can see this on camera, your arteries that are flowing through your body and all of the cardiovascular system and all your venous system, there are usually lymphatic tubes that are running right beside those arteries and that vascular system. So I hope that makes sense. Your body uses your lymph tubes to actually help transport toxins in and out of your blood. And this is another kicker. A side note, when your lymph makes it to your heart, because one of the last places your lymph fluid goes from your lymph tubes goes into your heart, and your body will restructure your lymph into plasma. So, the importance of lymph is not just detoxification of your arteries and veins, it also is there to help create plasma, your literal blood. Blood is the physical manifestation of chi, your electrical system. So if you're asking me how important lymph is, one of the most important things you can ever do. And to the degree, if you have lymphatic points that are running along your arteries, this is the beauty of it. If you ever have congested lymph nodes, you know those times they'll go, oh my goodness, I have congested lymph nodes behind my ears. I have it around my neck. I get these little lumps. My kid has these lumps all over underneath my armpits, around my collarbone. You have to remember that those lymph areas, lymph nodes, so remember the lymph nodes are little meeting points. Your lymph tubes will actually turn into or meet at lymph nodes, these little areas in your lymph system that serve as a place where they use post-it notes. They literally take all the viruses, all the bacteria, the parasites, those get stuffed into your lymph system. Can you imagine? Your connective tissue, your muscles, your ligaments, they are busy pulling out toxins all day and stuffing it into your lymph tubes. So they're transporting into your lymph tubes. They're going to the lymph nodes. The lymph nodes are going, oh, what's this? It's a virus, and your body tags it. So your body has a memory of it. Then, if it gets congested, you have to remind yourself at that area where the lymph gets congested, usually the artery has some kind of congestion. And that's the important part, too. You have to be very mindful. For example, me, I've had lymph issues around my neck and my throat, around my carotids. Does it mean I have blocked carotids? No, but it does mean I have a lot of infection in my carotids. So that's the importance. I hope this didn't sidetrack. I just want everybody out there to know anytime you have lymph nodes transporting this fluid, detoxifying you, getting all these immune, microbes out of your body, they're doing their job. And this basically will help you to do what? Just clarify the system. And when your body starts to clean those things out, it eventually goes to the heart. It becomes plasma. You start transferring electricity through your blood. So the importance of cleaning your lymph is vital for your overall vitality. And I may be getting a little too hyped up on it because I just want to let you know this, that whenever you have lymph moving through the muscles, it gives you flexibility, it gives you mobility. And anytime that you have any congestion lymph system, it will turn into sore joints, sore muscles, the inability to stretch. And if I go a little overboard, let me know. I'm just telling you that whenever you have congestion of lymph, what does it do? If it makes you stiff, it makes you tight, your fascia takes a big beating as well. It helps the mobility of your fascia. Lymph, literally, guys, lymph. So if you ever go get a lymphatic massage, you go get electric lymph therapy, and you just think, well, I'm just getting my lymph moved. No, no, no. Truly, guys, if you get your fascial system to relax from getting lymph movement, your fascia is another avenue of transporting electricity and your emotions. So I went a little overboard on that, but I want you to know that lymphatic work is probably one of the most important things you can do for your overall health.
No,
So,
I don't think that was overboard at all. It's so important, I think, for people to understand that your lymphatic system is the literal lifeline of you. It's the one that replenishes your blood, and it's that energetic pull that kind of makes us go. And if that's stagnant, then you're going to feel that in your body,
Mm,
in your brain, in your soul, in your energy. You're just going to feel bogged down.
yeah, totally. And whenever you think about lymphatics contributing to your overall energy and your spirit, people would say, "You mean if I go get a lymphatic massage, could that actually help with my emotions?" Yes,
It will.
it will. And you know it as well as I do. For anybody out there that's had a lymphatic massage, they say, "Yeah, when I got a massage, I literally broke down and cried when
Yes.
somebody pressed a point on my chest." And then do you ever have this? They'll go, "I just got that done. And I remembered a time when I was 6 years old and I had this problem and I just started wailing up and getting tearful because." Oh, I can go into the gist of this, but even lymphatic, there are connections from the lymphatic system deep into your cells, deep into your fascia, and there's memory in your lymph. And that is one thing that I love, that you can literally help the emotional system by getting lymph. And I can't tell you the many times I've ever had lymphatic drainage, and I will be getting my massage or getting ELT, and I get these thoughts and these visions in my head, and I'll start seeing pictures in my brain, and I'm like, where did that come from? And the body keeps the score, right? And everybody talks about that body, that book, and it's right. It's awesome. So, have you ever had experiences like that where you felt like something was moved on you and you can see the emotions come up?
Yeah, definitely the first time I had a lymphatic drainage massage, I had shared with the therapist, like, I've never done this before. I don't really know what to expect. And she said, okay, it's going to be very similar to other massages that you get. It's not going to be like really rough. You're going to be relaxed, but I want you to know that it is usually more emotional. And I was like, okay, what do you mean? And she was like, well, if you feel the moving of like emotions in your body, you should follow that.
Mm,
And I was like, okay. And I mean, I'm open to that kind of stuff. I'm a pretty
me
woo-woo
too.
person, and I'm just like a pretty open person in general. And I did. I mean, I wept like a baby on the table. And at the end of it, I was like, I don't know where that came from. And she was like, it just felt stuck. Like I could
Oh,
feel
yeah.
it in your body. And that's why I was working on certain places in your body. I held a lot of it in my uterus. So she was working a lot in my womb. This is obviously pre-pregnancy, you guys, but and in
Hmm.
my lower back and in my upper back actually as well. So my back and my uterus kind of held everything for me. And yeah, it was a really like emotional, almost borderline spiritual event. And I
It
had no idea that's what I was walking into.
it's usually like those kind of times when it does happen, you would think, how in the world did I trap that much emotion in that area? Or when we look about your uterus or the cervix or the ovaries and how much emotions they store. And one of the cool things, though, I love about Ayurvedic or Chinese medicine is that they teach you about how toxicities within the organ. Like, let's say we build up a lot of toxins in our organs. It could be yeast or fungus or mold, or it could be a toxin that's built up, let's say, in the ovaries. And those ovaries are literally trying all day to try to pump out the toxicities. And they try to push it out in the tissue, they store it. And your body is so smart and intelligent that it's actually using the lymph system to actually trap and contain those toxins that are in that organ. And our bodies are smart enough that there are chemicals and proteins that will store the emotions that you've experienced at particular times of your life, along with the congested lymph and the congested toxins. So, as long as you start to move those and start to release them, you're going to mobilize those proteins associated with your emotions. You're going to start mobilizing all the chemicals that have to do with your emotions, and your body will become aware. And that's what I really love about lymphatic work is that it is a movement of awareness. And to me, it's profound. I really mean that. Some of the most profound teachers I've ever had were people who did lymphatic work and they knew how the system moved. And total deep respect for all the individuals out there that do lymphatic work. Yes, tons of emotions stored in the organs can move out through the lymph system.
And your therapist can feel it, right? And they're holding space for you to be able to go through these motions and these emotions and these almost this spiritual event. So, I think choosing a therapist that I felt really safe with was
Hmm.
super important because you want to be able to relax into that space. You want to know that you're safe. You want to be able to let whatever comes up for you come up. And
Mm.
so I think, maybe Googling lymphatic drainage around me and just choosing somebody off of a whim is maybe not the best approach, or it wouldn't be what I chose for myself.
Oh, to me, when I think about finding somebody, it is so very important to find an individual that you gel with, or you put the term vibe with. One of the most important keys for me personally is that when you go into a room and you meet your practitioner, if you don't feel comfortable around them, it's only because the your body has some sensations that may not be the most comfortable with that individual. No, like knock on anybody that you don't want to work with. But the one of the biggest keys in lymphatic movement within the realm I work, like in acupuncture, is that we forget many times that we're like batteries because we're basically made up of salts and magnesium and water. So this is how important it is to me. Like if somebody comes up, he and touches my skin, this is what happens. You transfer electricity, you transfer chi. And one of the biggest things about lymph movement, like ELT, electric lymph therapy, what are they doing? They are using static wands to actually create static exchange on the skin above lymph nodes. That makes sense. So it's trying to change your static in your skin, basically, around a lymph node. And that pull, that static exchange of electricity, like when you go up and pop somebody, you rub your feet across this carpet and you pop, you literally are changing the static charge on the skin above the lymph node to make movement in your lymph. Now, that's one angle. Think about if somebody comes to you and puts their hand on you and they use their skin as the exchange medium, as the static one. They can actually transfer chi back and forth in your skin because you have static in your skin and I have too. So whenever you have somebody touching the points, maneuvering the points, you have to make sure that their vibrational patterns, their chi is very congruent with yours because they're going to exchange with you. And that's why I think it's so important to find the right practitioner. Because I know there's sometimes you ever feel that you go to a practitioner and you go, man, this person's my person. I know they know me. I don't feel uptight. Because when they put their hand on you and they exchange with you and you exchange with them, that electrical change back and forth, it is an innate intelligence, in my opinion. There is an innate intelligence coming between you and them, and it's already known before they even touch you, because you already know you can feel the vibrational pattern, right? That's my take on it. Maybe like you have a different take, but I love when you find that person that can help you with this.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I've talked about it on the show before, and I'm open about it on social media too, that I'm very intentional with who I put on my care team in every aspect. And it is exactly because of that. I am a very sensitive person in terms of I am really intuitive in being able to kind of read the room and connect with other people, but other people's energies highly impact me as well. And so if I'm with
Mm,
someone
mm.
that is not a good vibe or a good energy, I will absolutely pick up on that. And my nervous system is like, not you. No, 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 no.
It's true. You definitely have like you have the nice like oval shaped eyes. You can see past people. Like you
Oh,
have a little bit of more water quality, and I think that when you pick up on somebody's vibration, I would assume that you probably could feel the fears of other people pretty well.
totally.
I could probably assume that about you. And I don't say like I know you that well, but I would say that once your body knows how a person, if they live in fear, if they operate in fear and they're a practitioner, that probably would signal to your system, to your kidneys, to your blood, like, no, 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 they operate in fear. And I think it's a really insightful intuitiveness that you would have. So when you feel the vibration, do you get that inkling? Like, do you usually just feel it in your chest, or do you just feel it in your head, or you just feel like in your body, you just go, that is not the person for me, or it is a person?
Yeah, it kind of is different. So if they are not what I consider a safe person, it's generally my whole body will light up and I'm like, "Oh gosh, no, they are not a
Oh,
safe
yeah. Yeah.
But if they are a safe person, it's a little weird, but I feel it in my chest and it feels like warmth. But I can also feel it in my uterus. My uterus is just like so smart. She's like my right hand woman, and I didn't know that for a long time. I did not know that. I didn't give her as much credit as I should have for so long in my life. But I will feel warmth like deep down in like my gut, my intuition, my uterus, my ovaries and stuff will just start to be warm. It's almost like you poured warm water over them. And I'm like, wow,
Uh,
this person is
no,
safe.
that's good. And it's truly, I think to get a little bit nerd on that, I think it's really cool because when you pick up on somebody's patterns, it truly, like if somebody walks in, this is how, in my opinion, electricity works throughout the system. Like if you look at people's meridian system and all these lines, certain individuals, certain individuals have certain organs that are a little bit more or stronger than other organs. So each person is so bio unique that you say, I could feel it down the uterus, I can feel it in the cervix. And the Chinese medicine world would say, okay, well, that's more of a fire element organ. And so that could mean that you have a lot of fire element qualities about you. And so whenever you feel the warmth transfer down to the uterus or the cervix, you are definitely a heart person because if you feel it through your body, right, the fire elements are the organs that create energy. So that's your constitution: heart, thyroid, the intestines, like the gut feeling. I know this is going to work. Like you probably go to something and you go, I know this is
Yes.
not going to work. Or it goes down and you say, oh, I feel it down in the womb. And so the fire qualities, this is how important it is. If you find somebody, you are probably finding a practitioner that would accentuate your fire qualities. So you would find somebody that has more wood qualities, like myself. I'm not saying I have wood qualities. I am looks like a tree. Look at me. I have a thin face. I've got wood, ropey root look like arms. Look at my fingers. They look gangly. Like good. They look like tree roots. Okay, I'm self-deprecating, but the wood quality about me is I'm driven by my liver. I'm driven by growth. And those individuals feed the fire.
Hmm.
And so sometimes this is, maybe I'm taking this a little too far, but I'm saying when you find a practitioner that could feed into your life, like I guarantee you they have some wood quality. And the people that you could feel threatened by, this is how it is in relationships too. Like since you're a fire element and you have some water quality, because you're very intuitive, you're internal. I can tell you're very internal. But you can also have to be careful about the people who are a little too water for you because they could basically snuff you out. So you have to be careful, and you know that, like like the practitioners and the people around you, your community, and I guarantee anybody out there is listening. Think about the people you get along with and you don't.
Yeah, I am
Think
thinking
about it.
about them.
Yes, you're gonna be like, okay, so look at your hands. I'm looking at my side notes here. You have fingers like me. Look at her fingers, everybody. So she has thinner fingers like me. You can see the knuckles. That means she burns a lot of fat.
Hmm.
She burns tons of fat. She probably burns through her sugar. So really quickly, so she could get a little hangry
Yes.
if she doesn't eat well. You don't get in her way if her blood sugar drops a little bit. No knock on that. Her thyroid's driven. She's hot. She feels the warmth. And this would tell me that her thyroid is active. You're always on the go. Boom, 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 boom.
Mhm.
And so your thyroid's overworked in a good way. And you like to get up early if you can. If you can, get everything done by 1 or 2 o'clock.
Yep.
And then you go into the kidney time of Chinese medicine. Kidney means restitution. You're like, I want to get it done by 1 or 2, and I like to rest in the afternoon. And you want a practitioner that knows that about you. Like you find those characteristics that people gel with you. So me as a practitioner, if I looked at your hands, looked at your face, I'd go, oh, I got to accentuate her fire. Oh, I got to accentuate that thyroid. So the first thing I would do is when I work on the lymph system, I would definitely check the lymph around your throat, around your thyroid, around your inguinals, around your hips, get the lymph flowing around your ovaries and cervix. And see, guys, that's how you're right, though. It's important to find those people who work with you. I'm taking it too far, but I love when patients come in and over the years, I've had patients. I mean, I've seen kids that have been newborns. I'm not kidding. And then they're going to college and you feel older. But the funniest is when they'll say, "Oh, I've got a girlfriend or I've got a boyfriend," and they bring them in, because they're getting treated, and you're like, you look at their features and you're like, I don't know if they're gonna gel with you. That is the best, is when if they're like metabolic states, like they're water, you're fire. I do not know if this is gonna work. Anyway, I'll stop. Keep going. I'm sorry. I'm taking over
No,
the
no, no.
conversation.
I don't want you to stop. And you guys, this is the first time that Dr. Motley and I have met like in person in real life. And of course, we're not together. He's down in Tennessee. I'm in Massachusetts. So it's just really funny that you know all of that about me. And you nailed it. I mean, you nailed everything. That is exactly who I am. I'm also an Aries astrological sign. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm fire just like through and through. And I think the people who know me would attest that, like, yeah, she is fire from the moment that she opens her eyes to the time that she goes to bed at night. This girl is just fire. So
I love it.
it's
It's like when you
awesome.
say the Aries and the fire that but you do have a little bit of water. Good. I mean, I'm not saying I know you
Definitely.
that great, but you definitely that's a great mixture where you're fiery, like you can, that's why you're in this podcasting, because you can
Mm,
pronounce things and you can promote things and do things. But if you have that insightfulness of water being a part of you, like because water, where do you hear the most in water? Like if you're underwater, you can hear things from a big distance. It means that you intuitively you probably can hear things before people say it. You're like, I know something's up with that.
yep.
And I'm not that way. I'm literally wood qualities pretty through and through almost. I have a little bit of fire qualities. So I'm the kind of guy that you go, here's the job, Motley. I need you to do it. Okay, give me the job, I'll do it. Because I just make things function. So that's a great mixture you have. Awesome.
Oh, that is awesome to hear. Yeah, water is my comfort. People always say, like, what would you do when you are feeling sick or sad or, just need to reset? Water is it for me. The shower, the bath, the rain, the ocean, vacations around water is just
Yes.
my reset.
Oh, it means that you could burn a little too hot. Like, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Like you can push it too hard and you're like, I
Yep.
need the water to cool me down a little
Yeah.
bit, and it's okay. Do you like to get into like your car? Like I didn't bought, if you're up northeast and you like to put your seat heaters on like when you first start on, because I'm telling you what, fire elements are like you could be mid temperatures. Like it could be 70 something degrees outside and you're gonna be like, "Whew, okay.
That
Let's
is
put
so
seat
funny
heaters
to hear
on."
you say because I always say like, "Oh, it's a little chilly out." My husband's like, "It is 72 degrees." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I need
Yeah.
a light jacket." And
Yeah. Do you need a
love
sweatshirt, huh?
like
I need a sweatshirt. What are you
I
talking
love the dead
about?
heat of the summer. I mean, I am if it's 90 to like 105 degrees, I'm thriving. I love the heat.
Love it. That's why I always say if you're going to retire, I know you're in Boston, but I would say honestly, think about nice, dry, hot with a lake beside it. Go out to
Yes.
Lake Tahoe in the summer and get near the water, but also have that nice, hot, dry air. You'll thrive really well. I'm
Yeah.
telling
Oh my gosh. My heart, I always jokes, lives in Arizona and I've never lived there. I've never had a reason to even go there other than vacation, but I just feel so drawn to Arizona because of that dry heat, I think, and just how hot it gets.
Oh yeah, you'd thrive. And it's like, I mean, think about daily hikes, daily walks, moving your lymph, moving your blood, and your body's like, these are my people. I'm
Hmm.
here. It's fire. It's warm. And I'm like, oh man. And then you go hit a lake, or go hit it like just hit the ocean so many times a year. You'll feel like a champ. I mean, I
Gosh.
like when people know that about themselves. They know about like which practitioners know their body. And it's amazing. Like when you know how you are, it's very hard to give any of your practitioners up. It's hard. Like when you finally get your team together, you're glad that you found people that know you because you finally understood yourself. Like when you're a fire element, like what you like, what types of food you like, and what types of herbs you like, and what kind of therapies you like. I would, I mean, I could see you're like, oh, give me an infrared sauna all day.
Yes.
Can I go another 20 degrees up? And it's not hot enough. It's not hot enough. I'd be like, oh my God, like I'm a wood element. You give me, I'll burn. I'll be like, okay, okay. I'm a little parched right now.
That is so funny. It's wild how much you know about me by just, I guess, looking at me. This is just,
Yeah, yeah. I have my side view because I have my camera here, but I also have like a bigger, and so I'm not judging guys out there, but like what'll happen is facial diagnosis is nothing brand new. Like there's a guy named Dr. Todd Frisch, Frisch. He's a really great doc. He's one of my mentors, and he does amazing work at Chinese medicine. But it's just that you can look at your own facial features and you can get an idea of what they say element type. This is what I'm saying. All it tells you is the elements only refer to your organ system, and it just tells you genetically from your parents which organs are dominant in you. That's all it's telling you.
hmm.
So the shape of the face, like you have the chin comes down, you have nice round cheeks, and it goes down here to more of a low point, and you've got right in this area, it makes your heart look like your face look like a heart. That's the truth. And so what'll happen is well, your eyebrows are set, and the way that you look, you basically see the big picture. That's how I would look, right? You see the big picture. Family is very important to you. However, from your facial diagnosis, your family life's been good, but there's probably in your generational past, just the way how your cheeks and your chin come down, is that family is really important to you. But I would say generationally, um, probably, I'm not saying divorce, but there have been some emotional fatigues in relationships in your family past. And you would be the person to try to remedy that.
This is the
That's,
wildest thing I have ever heard in my life. You are spot on.
oh, well, no, no, but you guys out there, it's just facial diagnosis, some Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic, and, but see how you know yourself. And I mean, if I was like working with you, I'd be like, okay, since we know this, we know that your heart's involved. Your reproductive system wants to be very encouraged and very strong because you want to have kids. You had something in the past that your generational said, okay, it's threatening family.
Hmm.
And your body goes, no, we got to reproduce. So I need a lot of heat. I need a lot of fire. And that's what the cooling. Then you want to eat foods that would encourage the strength of your ovaries. So you're going to eat foods that are in the shape of ovaries and the shape of bladder and kidneys. And you go like, oh, things that will encourage strength and heat. So I'm going too far, guys, out there. But this is what I love about facial diagnosis and looking at the peeps I talk with. This is great. This is fun, isn't it? I think it is.
Yeah, no, this is right up my alley. Okay, I do want to stay on lymphatic drainage because
Okay, let's go.
people are here for. But you had talked about kind of walking, moving your lymph. What are some
Hmm.
other things that we can do? What about the jiggle boards that you see online or the
Yeah.
dry brushing, things like, movement, swimming? What do we need to know about how we can move our lymph on almost a daily basis?
Yes, I would love vibrational plates. So I would say, as a recommendation to my patients, if you have a chance to get any type of red light or an infrared sauna, you want to loosen things up if possible. 15 to 20 minutes a day of even if it's right around the main areas where you have the congestion. So if you're doing a vibrational plate and you say, my lymph feels super congested around my hips, put the red light around your hips, around your tailbone, around the back, seriously, around near your butt. Even if you sit down, you don't want to stand up, get a vibrational plate, do it at the very lowest level for almost 5 minutes, maybe 4 to 5 minutes starting out. If you can work your way up to like 7 minutes at a medium grade, that's great. And it's going to move that lymph up and down. The key is whenever you decongest your lymph nodes and you're using vibrational plates, don't ever forget, like you just said, normal movement. So you just want to get the lymph to pump up and down because the lymph can get stagnant, like it's not pumping up and down. So what people often forget is the vibrational plate is so important because lymph glands and lymph tubes do not have muscles, very many muscles in the actual tubing. Your muscle contractions are what move lymph up and down. So you have to contract your muscles. So whenever you're doing any type of walk, if you're doing any type of stretching, Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, make that a daily practice because you are encouraging the muscles to push the lymph up and down. So that's my key right there. And what I love to do is I love to add in mangista. It's an Ayurvedic herb. Mangista, it's rubio. You put it in there. I take some of that whenever I feel stagnant. Vibration plate, you got to see me. I always take videos of me in my infrared sauna, like because I feel the movement. And if you at all, whenever you can stretch, you may need to find an activity, not just walking, find something where you enjoy it, where your joints are really getting a good workout. Whether it's boxing or whether it's, I mean, I do a lot of boxing if I can. That's one of my favorites. So encourage not only vibration plate, but also movement and some form of exercise that really get the joints going. That's my two things. Three
That
things.
is so cool. Okay, so I'm interested to know if there's any data that supports maybe our lymph system or lymphatic drainage in association with our immune system or immune function.
Yeah. There's one of the biggest keys, though, when you're talking about immune function and lymphatics, there are some reports that I really love to read about strep. And that's one of my biggest things because there's so much hidden strep. So there's a point to this. The reports are in some of the studies, like y'all go to like Science Direct, and they have a ton of journals and such. But they say that individuals that usually have higher amounts of dysfunction within the neutrophils, lymphocytes. So they would find individuals that would have imbalanced numbers of lymphocytes and neutrophils, higher amounts of bacterial infections, and they were coming from what we call strep carriers. Okay, so people are strep carriers. Long story short, you could get strep from a family member. You could yourself could have strep. So everybody out there goes, yes, I had strep throat when I was a kid. Yes, I did. So what doctors will do is they will say that you've had it for a long time. You're just carrying it. Don't worry about it. It's not doing too bad of a thing to your white blood cells. But what they have found is that it always charges your white blood cells during in some research that if you're a strep carrier, you're always on the higher end of those white blood cells being activated to kill the strep. Okay. So they're always running, according to some of the research. What happens over time, though, is that it wears your white blood cells out. And then they start to get lower, and then the strep can overtake you because you're wearing the system out. But what has been shown is that whenever a person increases movement, and anytime they actually increase lymph flow, they found out that spleen function, there's a lot, the spleen, which is one of the organs that helps with red blood cell degradation, helps with white blood cells, helps the whole white blood cell system work. If you got your lymph nodes to work well, you encourage the strength of your spleen, and then the strep numbers start to go down. Isn't that amazing? You can clean up your lymph, encourage walking and moving, and they found that literally your spleen is encouraged by it. And the research is showing that. And then they say, oh, the strep carrier condition goes down. Wow. And this is how far some of the research has gone. And I hope I'm, giving a good enough explanation. Your spleen always listens. This is another thing you found out about individuals. Your spleen listens to you. If you go out, and I want everybody out there to listen, if you go take the time to go take a walk, to stretch, to do the vibration plate, you're telling your body psychologically, like, I am worth mending. If you tell your body that, you will engage your white blood cells to go out to the periphery to go kill off the infections. So they're showing in research, if you continue to do the movement and the lymph flow, you actually are psychologically also going to increase your white blood cell count and help heal. That's the other part of the research. So love of yourself, self-love, doing things that will actually take care of yourself, getting a lymph massage, doing those things will also increase your white blood cells to help your immune system. So always remember that. Take care of yourself, love yourself, and for crying out loud, remember, lymph means spleen health. I know I get real adamant about it. I'm just telling you, I cannot tell you how many times, though, the amount of people that come in with spleen issues and people say, spleen. I'm like, no, if you have problems swelling in areas, if you have those little nodules in your lymph, your spleen has taken a beating. And the research is showing that you have to move. You have to get that stuff, and you have to practice self-care.
Hmm.
So anyway, I pointed my finger. I didn't mean to do like that. So
So would you say that, not necessarily swelling. I hear you that swelling is one of them, but maybe just like inflammation, particularly men can get it too, but I'm thinking just women who have tried everything to lose weight, to, get their face to a place that they want, and they just have this like overall inflammation. Is that a good indicator that our lymphatic system is not working optimally?
I would totally, yes, I would agree with that. I think that when everybody has a puffy face, and I find that, especially around the jaws, around the chin, around the eyes, normally what I find is that the lymph nodes, especially those that are connected down to the deep parts of your throat, around your parotid glands, like the salivary glands underneath your tongue, around your cheeks, and around the tonsils, are congested. And so, whenever those are congested, if you do a thermogram, and one of my friends, Danielle Benham, she's great. She's out of the wellness coordinator. She does a lot of thermography. But I got mine done. And what you'll find is that, again, all the lymph nodes around my throat and around my carotids were congested because I always had sore throats when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I always had sore throats. So, yes, puffy face means swollen lymph nodes. And not only in the throat, but guys, I want you to get this, maybe in the brain, because there's a lot of lymph nodes in the brain.
Wow.
So if you know yourself saying, yes, I had strep when I was a kid, or I had any type of infection, I had a lot of mono or something, those will stagnate in your lymph system in the brain as well. So that's where brain fog comes in, memory loss, where you start to have neuroinflammatory responses where you feel like my brain's really hot. So anytime you have a puffy face, get your lymph cleaned out around your neck and your head.
Yeah. Okay, I'm thinking about, practices like gua sha that are rooted in like cultural practices or
Mhm.
traditional practices, and you are a Chinese medicine doctor, right? So is lymphatic drainage also rooted in cultural or traditional practices?
I think gua sha is like its offspin. Yes, I think that gua sha in Chinese medicine, because they would do stuff like Tui Na, they would do like manipulations like chiropractors did. It totally was. They knew that their avenue was that if you got the gua sha and you moved the fascia and you stretched the fascia, they always contributed fascia to qi. So if you go to Chinese medicine 101, and maybe some practitioner out there may agree or disagree, but really the whole system is based on fascia.
Mm.
So if you take the fascia, the gua sha, and they knew that, and you stretched it, they're saying stretching the fascia will help the fluid. Oh, I'm going to get confusing for you out there. But there's a few organs in Chinese medicine, they always say that it controls the fluid. What are they talking about? Talking about your lymph flow. So gua sha was embedded. Even some Ayurvedic therapies, they'll use cupping. Like they'll use cupping to pull stuff out of your skin. Like that's crazy. I love cupping though.
Me
You
too.
look
I
like you got
love it.
attacked by an octopus when you got done. But you see all those guys that are like, and the gals that are athletes that like literally have it all over their skin. But it's central to that. They knew that life was in movement, and movement meant if your fascia is healthy, your lymph is healthy, and you're going to make sure that you'll stay healthy, like immune system, metabolically, and even like reproductive wise too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Dive into that. So, lymphatic drainage must be connected to our hormone health at some point. There has to be
Mhm.
some sort of overlap that if you aren't having the proper kind of lymph drainage and movement in your lymph system, that your hormones must get stagnant alongside that.
Truly, I think that there's many angles I could come in with this, even with research. But I'm here at the office, like clinically, like it's been over like 20 something years, and you look at lymph flow, and you don't want to become so fancy with all the testing we do here and all the things that, you do labs and you do urine work and urinalysis and such. That's all great because I love it. But when it comes to hormones, one of the biggest things that I have found is when you're doing like acupuncture or any type of cupping, you're doing any type of body work, the areas around the inguinals, we talked about before, your inguinals, guys, like you guys can see it's right nearby the pubic bone, right down here in this area, or right around the hips. What I have found is that if you ever had any type of infections or microbes or toxicity that's built up around the ovaries, the cervix, the uterus, or the testes in men, okay, those infections love to eat up some of the hormones. In fact, some of the research would show that there are certain types of protozoa parasites that love to eat up things like DHEA, which is a precursor to testosterone. And then testosterone turns into estrogens, so forth. But they're finding that certain individuals have higher amounts of parasites and they would have lower amounts of DHEA. Have you ever seen that? I've seen when people come in there, have everything's doing pretty well, and they're like, Doc, I don't, everything's good, but my DHEA is low, and that's making my basically my testosterone suffer. So whenever you have a congestion of it around the inguinals, getting the lymph to flow, and I've seen it firsthand. I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just thankful. You start cleaning those things up, their hormone levels start to get better just by cleaning out the infections and the toxins around those organs. You guys that are listening, you guys know that hidden infections around those areas will hurt your hormones. Not only are you putting in fight or flight unknowingly, but you have to clean out, and those organs feel threatened. So once you start to flush them, the threat is gone, the hormone levels get better. And I'm thankful. I literally sometimes I've had times where I've had patients I've shared with, different docs, and I love my friends that are doctors. We share them back and forth, and they'll come back and they go, "Oh, well, your testosterone's getting better and your estrogens," and they're like, "What did Motley do?" And I'm like, "I just helped you clean out some old parasites." And now that I research more, because that's what I would do for hormones, I would research. I'm like, do there any like hormones or that are feeding infections? And there are a lot,
Mm-hmm.
quite a bit. And they don't put that in mainstream because they're not going to tell you that. Like literally, what happens in this industry where they go, "Oh, you can help your testosterone by getting rid of protozoa parasites. Take some wormwood." Where would the industry go? Like you would solve a lot of problems. So I won't go down that route. But that's my take on the hormones and the infections and the lymph.
Yeah, it makes me think about the people who are struggling with fertility out there. If you've never paid attention to your lymph system, now would be the time to do it. Pay attention, tune into it, see if you've got some stagnation in there, and if you
Mm.
might should move some things through your lymph system to see if we can't get your fertility boosted a little bit.
Oh, I agree. I think that they even talked about in certain books about like Lyme disease. I know this is a different route, but even when you're talking about immune system, they're saying that there are some infections that are so smart that can get into your lymph system. They've had reports about it and they've done research that some of those infections know how your B lymphocytes work, your little lymph nodes, your lymphocytes. They will trick your lymph nodes and your lymphocytes to actually crowd around them in your lymph nodes and create the nodules.
Hmm.
But they're creating cysts in your lymph nodes, and they're actually basically protecting themselves. So when you get worn down, they'll break through and they'll spread. And that's one of the things that you have to be very mindful. So if your kid or yourself had the lumps around your ears, always do this. I always say, "Where's the area around my ears?" There's infections in your ears. Well, I had ear infection when I was a kid. Okay. You have to respect that. And that's what I love about like knowing the areas, and you go, okay, if it's in your ears, it's stagnant. You must clean it out. Like you have to get your lymph nodes cleaned out. You could clean it out like, the canals, but if your lymph nodes are congested, there's something tricking your lymph system. And that's how smart they are. It's almost scary sometimes when I read reports. And I'm not trying to be negative on this podcast. I want to be
No, that's
positive
not
in
at
it, but
all.
literally, I read some of the stuff and I'm like, they are so smart. Like how viruses and such work with Lyme disease and they kind of like feed off of each other. So if anybody out there has any lumps in their lymph nodes, remember, investigate as deep as you can. And I can give you some lab names and stuff that really help clean up some stuff like that. But it's
Yeah.
always interesting to me though, because I like what you say about research. I love researching and finding like evidence and such. And that's one of my favorite things to do.
Well, I just think it's so important to kind of understand that viruses and bacteria are organisms that are designed to stay alive. So they'll do anything to stay alive.
Anything. They will do
Anything,
anything.
right? And
Always.
so if that means compromising you and your body, they'll do it. They won't think twice about it. And so I think it's really up to us to understand that and then to be proactive and kind of moving that stuff through our body.
Yes, yes, yes. And that's the beauty of podcasts such as yours. And when individuals like can come to a podcast and listen to the research, like small snippets of research where you and I, like when we're research, we're like, well, I hope that this information actually helps somebody. And then you get a call back or you get somebody that sends something out and go, oh my goodness, you said to go check this out. I checked it and this is what I found. That's why investigating is important. And I think in healthcare today, unfortunately, I think it's more of here's a symptom, take this to get rid of the symptom. I'm like, the investigation has to be reignited in our culture today. And I think that's why a lot of people are going to like functional medicine doctors or people that are really investigating because I like investigating. I mean, that's what I do all day. Like, that's why I'm always behind. I'm always late. I'm like, because uh, like literally, I sit there as I get older though. I'm like, I'll be working on some. I used to be real fast when I was younger. I'd be like, yeah, I got this. And now I'm like, I gotta think about this. Like, I don't know. Like, and I love it. I love having that inquisitiveness still after all these years. So that's my game changer. Always investigating.
Yeah, I'm a lifelong investigator. I'll never stop asking questions, and particularly the hard ones or the taboo ones or the ones that nobody else wants to ask. That's kind of my forte is to get in there and say, "All right, well, nobody else wants to say this, so I totally will."
Oh yeah, you're fire. You totally would do that. What are you talking about? Like,
I totally will do that.
yeah, it's like fire's like gonna challenge you. You're like, no, no, I don't take that for word for what you say. I'm gonna find out myself.
Exactly. Okay, so I assume that lymphatic drainage is healthy in pregnancy and safe in pregnancy, but I think it'll be helpful just to hear you say it. And what about postpartum and for breastfeeding people? Is it safe and maybe even beneficial for people who fall in those categories?
I really do believe it's safe. I will say this though, whenever it's during pregnancy, is that again finding the practitioner that works with you because they know how your lymph will flow, and you never want to over detoxify too quickly. So if you have somebody that works with you, they know your body, they know what's probably going on internally, and especially around the breast, like postpartum, that's one of the things that's keep missing in the majority in our healthcare system is that individuals, I wish there was more clinics out there that were just for postpartum because of all the lymphatic movement and all the toxicity. So to answer your question, the breasts and the areas around the chest, it is so important because what will happen is the stagnation of the lymph in the breast could, in my opinion, lead to stagnation of infections within the glands. So when you're breastfeeding a baby, you and this is important. This is not to create fear. This is just like proactive. If you do the lymph movement around the breast and have a good practitioner, you're going to make sure that you're flowing those toxins out. And a lot of them are not finding their way into your glands because there is research and reports that there are certain types of bacterial infections that can get in the glands, like mastitis, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important. I think it's great. I mean, if I, you know, to me, I have a whole lot of patients that have been pregnant and they've asked me, what should I do? I was like, man, get the lymph cleaned out underneath your armpits, flush them all around the sides of the breast, go down the middle of the chest gently, and find a person like my lymphatic practitioner. She like will find the spots on me. And she's like, I have patients that are pregnant and such, and it's amazing how much they find like on the dot, like this area is congested. And you'll find that the babies are healthier and happier, literally, because they're not getting toxicities, they're getting healthy milk, and you just can't go wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I agree with you. I always tell my moms that are really prone to mastitis, I always say, like, all right, once we get done with this bout of mastitis, I really think you should consider maybe a daily or every other day type routine where you just gently work through some of that fluid, especially for people who are feeling like their breasts are really kind of engorged or really
Yes.
full. It's just really important to keep things moving in there. And sometimes just draining your breast with a pumper or via your baby is not enough. Sometimes we need a little bit more. And I think, just moving that fluid can be super helpful.
Yes.
My last question is about conditions or symptoms that it may not be appropriate to do lymphatic drainage. Is that a thing, or is lymphatic drainage pretty much healthy for everybody?
I think it's really healthy for everybody. In the practice, like when I say it's not for everybody, what I'm saying is you always have to be, again, very cautious about your condition and how much toxicity can be released. So, in my opinion, everybody should be doing lymphatic
Mm,
cleansing and drainage and therapy. But if you're really sick, like individuals that had really bad parasitic infections or Lyme disease, anybody that's had really bad autoimmune, you have to find a time or a practitioner that will take it very slow. So you just have to understand your toxicity levels. For instance, I treat a lot of patients with heavy strep, heavy Lyme disease, and they'll say, Doc, do I need to get lymph? I'm saying, yes, you do. But first, I try to encourage the body just to poop. And so what will happen is if they don't have like normal bowel movements, if you guys are out there not having a bowel movement, you're like, well, I have a bowel movement every 2 days. You can get lymph movement, but you got to make sure that you are pooping decently before you go out and do a full lymphatic drainage, because if you do, you're going to not feel great. So the two things, pooping regularly and peeing regularly. Like if you can't pee it out or poop it out, just be mindful of your lymph. After you start doing that, I think lymphatic is one of the best things you can do. And I mean, I do it every week if I can. I'm
Yeah.
doing that like it's one of my joys. It's like my self-care time. Like I love it. Like I used to get foot cramps, but it was on my gallbladder meridian, and I have gallbladder issues. And like literally after they clear those lymphatic points along my gallbladder meridian on my legs, I like will stand. I'm like, oh my word, that is the best feeling. Like I'm standing without pain, and I'm such a nerd. But that's like literally go out there and find you a good practitioner in your
Yeah.
area.
Yeah. And when you say pooping regularly, you mean at least once a day.
At least once a day. And I know we can go through all, but I'm like everybody out there, if you're pooping once a day, but let's say maybe it's diarrhea mixed with a little bit of gas and there's foam in it and your guys are getting grossed out, but it's really foam or mucus. That means that there could be like leaky gut or there could be some like infections. At least you're pooping once a day.
Okay.
But you want to get it to where if you are pooping, that you're actually getting a little bit more solid poops, that you have a decent amount. It's the quality of the poop that means a lot. It's not just the amount. You have to have a good quality. You have to get stuff out of your system. So if you're doing once a day, if you could go twice, that's great. And you are urinating regularly. So if you're not drinking enough water, you need to drink enough water. Like everybody out there, I'm like, at least, I mean, everybody has their own thing, but I'm like, at least 5 cups a day, at least. And if you don't drink a lot of water, because I know the patients out there that are like they love coffee and teas, and I do too, and they won't drink enough water. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get a lymphatic massage. They're like, no, 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 don't do that. You got to make sure you're peeing it all out and you're pooping it all out. So guys out there, everybody out there, make sure those two things are happening.
Yeah.
That's my take. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's super helpful. This has been so insightful. Okay, Dr. Motley, if people wanted to work with you, learn more about you, learn more from you, connect with you, how can they do that?
Oh, thank you so much for your kindness. I really appreciate being on here, and I can't wait to have you on mine. This is gonna be fun. I at Dr. Motley at Dr. Motley, Dr. Motley spelled out. My website's drmotley.com, but there's both of them, Dr. Motley or Dr. Motley spelled out. Instagram, Facebook, X, is that right? X, YouTube at Dr. Motley. You can work with me through virtuals. I still do in-persons, but I had to limit that over the years. I take care of my little Korean mama a lot, so I had to take care of her at the house. And yeah, I do more virtually. So there are virtual programs that I have coming up, but hopefully I want everybody out there too that when you go on the Instagram and such is that you get enough information that hopefully you can take some of that information, you can do it on your own. Like my goal is not like I need you to have become a virtual patient at all. I'd rather you just take the power in your own hands and go, oh, I learned how to rub the acupuncture points from my large intestine and I pooped. Those are the things that bring me joy, actually. So that's how you can find me. And we have stuff on was it Linktree? Is that right, girl? Like on your
Yep.
Instagram and on my website. If you ever wanted a virtual, we have a team out there that can help you out. But remember, I'm all about you guys taking the power within yourself. Okay.
I actually think that's one of the things that drew me the most to you. And you can get that feel from your social media and from your presence that you really want to empower people. And so just thank you so much for being here with me today. And you guys, I hope that this episode provided you with the information and the data and the confidence to go out and explore lymphatic drainage. I hope that now all of the fears that you came to this episode with are squashed and behind you. media. I hope that you are eager to learn more about how you can start to move your lymphatic system to become a healthier you. All right, you guys, I will
Oh,
see you in the next episode. Be sure to follow Dr. Motley on social media, and you can find me at Tranquility by HeHe and at the.birth.lounge. Until next time, head to your app store and download the Birth Lounge app for evidence-based childbirth education and data-driven postpartum support delivered straight to your phone. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I love hanging out with you, and it is an honor to be your go-to gal when it comes to preparing for your baby. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a 5-star review and tell others why they should be listening to the Birth Lounge podcast too. You deserve to have a birth that you love with a provider that values your autonomy and respects informed consent without all the trauma that you so commonly hear about on social media. New episodes air every Wednesday and Friday. Hit that follow button so you never miss an episode. I'm HeHe, and this is the Birth Lounge Podcast.